Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Good Dram Show with me, Chris Goodrum. Right, I think we're up to episode number 50. Bloody hell. Amazing how time goes, isn't it? Well, technically it's episode 50. Well, it's not really episode 51. I mean, if you include the introductory video I did, I've now done 51, but this is actually episode 50 of the show, and I thought it was probably about time I looked at a different type of spirit again. Done sort of like rum a couple of times, plenty of whiskies, and I thought it was time we had a look at white spirits, well, not literally white spirits, obviously, but clear spirits, I should say, vodka to be precise. Now, I mean, there's a lot of misconception, I guess, about vodka. There's a lot of cheap stuff about, and it's kind of pretty rough and nasty kind of stuff, and then you have vodka that's kind of like just distilled, to the nth degree, has absolutely no character whatsoever. It's filtered to buggery, and it's pretty bland kind of stuff. All it really is doing is kind of adding a bit of alcohol to Coke or orange juice or something like that. So anyway, I thought it would be quite interesting to take a look at four different vodkas. I've sort of selected a Russian, a Swedish, an American, and an English vodka. I think you know which one the English vodka is, but you probably may or may not have heard of the other ones. So I guess well, I'm not really going to waffle on about the individual distilleries or whatever. So I'll just introduce this afternoon's lineup then. Right, okay, so as I said, four different types of vodka, all made from different materials, and all come from different countries. So hopefully this should be quite interesting. It should show that vodka can be other than just a bland kind of spirit. It can have some character, and hopefully this will show you that that what the actual base product for the vodka will give it some kind of character, some kind of influence to the finished spirit. So right, what have we got here? This is Belenkaya. It's completely new to me. It's Russian. Apparently, it's distilled in Russia, funnily enough, and is only now just sort of creeping onto the international market. Why am I using this one, you may hasten to add? Well, the rep popped into the shop a few weeks ago, the same rep that brought me the Blackwell's rum and the Elements 8 rum. So I thought, well, yeah, let's take a look at that. It's standard. It's distilled from grain, triple distilled, allegedly filtered through a 13-meter long coal filter. I mean, filter it through, and this is the thing with vodka, is the whole filtering business. Is if you filter too much, you take away too much of the impurities, which is what gives it character. But the general public don't want impurities, they don't want character, they just want nothingness. So anyway, so it'll be interesting to see how filtering it through 13 feet of coal is what that's going to do to it. So this is the Swedish vodka. Again, you may not have heard of this, and I only heard of this in just before Christmas, I think it was. It's called Purity. I suppose interesting, a nice bottle as well. And you can see what they're kind of getting at with the whole naming of it. Anyway, it's apparently Swedish. It's been distilled by some chap called Thomas Kutunen. Hopefully I've pronounced that right. Quite a good looking bloke actually, going a bit grey, but it's got that kind of George Clooney kind of thing going on. Anyway, that's beside the by. The blurb on this is that it's distilled from organic winter wheat and barley, so it could be interesting. It isn't filtered, but get this is distilled 34 times. Is it going to taste of anything? I mean, apparently it's won, stacks of awards and gold medals in San Francisco and all that kind of stuff. So, well, must be doing something okay, I guess. So, anyway, we'll look at that in due course. The third bottle I have here is a bit of an old sample, but that's been lurking around, but hopefully that'll still be alive and kicking. This is an American vodka. It's called the General George Stark, named after the eponymous general. It's it's distilled from apples. It's triple distilled, and again it's charcoal filtered. So hopefully it will actually, you know, display some kind of apple character, not necessarily apple flavour, but maybe it will have a sort of like, you know, a sort of an appley kind of feel to it. So, which could be interesting. And finally, good old potato vodka. No, this has not been sort of distilled in a little still in the middle of Russia or Poland or somewhere like that. This is the Chase Distillery in Hereford. Again, it's a fairly old sample, but it was an unopened sample, so hopefully that should be still as fresh as a daisy. And it will be interesting to see, you know, what the differences between the different vodkas will be. So, right, okay. Let's crack on and start with the Russian, the Balankaya then. Right, okay, so the Balankaya. I remember the first time, a few years back, when I actually seriously started looking into white spirits and putting together a selection for the shop. I picked just a bog standard supermarket one. The Russian standard vodka is kind of like I guess you say a benchmark against all the other samples that I had, and you know, it's pretty hard stuff that. So let's see what this Russian one is like then, shall we? It's got a freshness. It's crisp. A little bit of smokiness, a little bit of you know, that grainy kind of intensity that you kind of get with Russian vodkas, but it's certainly not spirity. It's got a nice softness, a little bit of vanilla possibly, which obviously is not coming from any oak aging. Yeah, it's quite citrusy in actual fact. It's a little bit of herbal character. It's almost sort of, yeah, almost verging on a kind of like a gin-like note, with that sort of herbal. I mean, obviously it's not got sort of a huge juniper note, so I mean you wouldn't kind of mistake it for gin, but yeah, it's nice. It's fresh. Yeah, citrus, a little bit smoky. You know, it's pleasant. Palate there. Soft, it's a bit creamy. Not a lot else to say about it really, it has to be said. I mean, it's a pleasant spirit, it's not spirity, it's not hard, but there's no cereal, there's no oiliness, there's no impurities. It's just sort of like, you know, soft, slightly creamy spirit, you know. I don't know how much that's going to retail for. I can't imagine that's hugely expensive, but you know, it's pleasant. You can drink that on its own, but you know, it's certainly not setting my world on fire. It has to be said, but you know, not bad. Right, okay, let's have a look at the purity then. The Swedish vodka. I mean, the big Swedish vodka is obviously absolute, isn't it? You know, I mean, everybody knows that, and the million and one different fruit ones that they do, and all that kind of stuff. So let's see if this is any good. It's a nice sort of progression, I guess, from the Balankaya. It has that sort of same softness and vanilla note. Not quite so citrusy, but it's very broad. I mean, you know, again, for something that's been distilled 34 times, it's got a little bit of character. I mean, it's a lovely soft aroma. A little bit of smoke possibly, maybe maybe there's a little bit of cereal, or I don't know, maybe I'm kind of chasing that aroma. But again, it's soft, it's smooth, it's pleasant. You know, there's no harsh edges, no sort of spiritiness. Yeah, I like it. Well, for something that's been distilled 34 times, it has actually got a bit of character. Soft, smooth, a little bit of creamy vanilla. Not a great deal in the way of impurities, like say something like one of the vodkas I particularly like is the Polish vodka Patoki, which is completely unfiltered and it's got that real cereally kind of character. This is really polished. It's elegant. It's nice. But again, you know, it doesn't have a great deal of character other than being sort of soft, nice, and a bit sort of, you know, vanilla, you know. Not bad spirit, nicely packaged, you know. I guess this is sort of like at the, I don't know, the beginning of the premium end of vodkas. I mean, you can spend hundreds of pounds on vodka, and I must admit, I'd probably be lost on me. I'm not the world's greatest vodka aficionado, but again, it's like the Balankai. It's pleasant, it's okay, but there's no real sort of impurity to the spirit. You know, it's pure. Hence why they call it purity, I guess. Yeah, so not too bad. Right, okay. On to the general start then. Let's see if distilling it from apples makes any difference to the other two. That's quite a nice nose in actual fact. That's got a real pungency to it. Sort of oily, sort of apple skin. I mean, it doesn't smell of apples. It's not like, you know, some kind of horribly confected appley thing, but it's got that, if you sort of smell an apple, maybe say something like a green skinned apple, maybe a sort of a Bramley or something like that, it's got that kind of, you know, apple skin kind of note. Again, it's soft, it's oily, it's got a nice smoothness to it, and a bit of character. I mean, although it is charcoal filtered, they obviously and triple distilled, they obviously don't go too nuts on it, and yeah, that's nice. Got a again a sort of a little bit of a roasted note maybe, and a touch of citrus. Yeah, I think all told, that's a really quite pleasant nose. Palate. That's nice. Again, it's quite oily, pungent. It's got a more natural kind of character to it. Obviously not sort of like totally artisanal, I guess you would say, as in sort of produced in a small still in your garage kind of thing. But it's got a more, it's less polished than the other two gins, vodkas, and it has this sort of oily, sort of, yeah, it's again a little bit of sort of like almost apple skin kind of character. It's just more going on in it, and I mean, I guess it depends at the end of the day how you like to drink your vodka, and I like my spirits, as you know, sort of like unadulterated, maybe a little drop of water, and although those two are perfectly pleasant sort of drinking on their own, this has got a little bit more to it, a little bit more something, so yeah, kind of like that, that's nice. Right, okay, and finally let's have a look at the chase. This is obviously distilled from potatoes, bottled at 40%, as are the other three bottlings that we're tasting this afternoon. So let's see if this is any different to the others. Oh, that's nice. That's a nice nose. It's warm, lightly spicy, quite starchy. You can sort of smell the kind of potato starch. It's full. It's fleshy. But again, it's got a nice purity. I mean, they've got. I mean, when the distillery was set up, they've got sort of a custom built still, very tall, lots of plates in it that sort of like, I think they call them boil plates, I think, which kind of like help the reflux and sort of, allow it to, distill a purer spirit. But it's certainly got a lot of character. Like I said, it's got that sort of starchy, full, earthy nose. Really nice. That's good vodka. Oh, then. It's got a bit of bite to it. It's actually quite complex for a vodka. I mean, it's got that nice sort of, again, starchy kind of mouthfeel, a softness, a little bit, maybe a little bit of vanilla, or sort of like something hinting at vanilla, I should say. But it's got a little bit of bite on the finish to it, which kind of nips the palate. It kind of cleanses. It's not spirity. It's got this lovely smoothness. You just get this wonderful combination of flavours of this kind of like I said, this like kind of starchy spirit character with a sort of like you feel the sort of almost spiciness of the of the bite, which is really nice. So yeah, that's really interesting. That's good spirit. That's got some character. Yeah, and it's English, and I like it. Right, okay. So let's sum this little tasting up then. Quite interesting, quite short, but interesting nevertheless. I think for pleasant spirits, none of them particularly nasty or spirity. I mean, the Baron-Kaya, yeah, it kind of is what it is. I suppose you could say it's a sort of slightly above entry level Russian vodka. Not a huge amount of character to it, but pleasant enough, I suppose. The purity, maybe it's just I'm not a vodka aficionado. Well, or I guess I kind of come at spirits, certainly spirits other than sort of whiskey, in a kind of a different angle, because I like whiskies. I want character. I want sort of the spirit to tell me something. Maybe what it was distilled from or something like that. The purity, it's a good spirit. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it at all. It's soft. It's got a nice sort of like a vanilla kind of character, but it hasn't got enough impurities. It's not sort of it's too polished, I think, is probably for me anyway. I mean, like I said, vodka aficionados may well completely disagree with that, and obviously as it's won a stack of medals, then those sort of like vodka aficionados, probably that's what they want from their vodka. Me personally, I think I want more of what these two give me. I want more of the impurities. I want more of the spirit to tell me about what it was originally distilled from and where it came from. I certainly think that the General George Stark is a lovely vodka. It's got, like I say, it's got an oiliness. It's got sort of like that sort of slight apple skin kind of character. And I love the chase. The chase is great. I mean, it's got this sort of like bold, starchy kind of character, which I I prefer to drink. It's just really interesting how well they kind of go with mixers and all that kind of stuff. Difficult to say. I mean, I'm guessing that these two being sort of purer and obviously cleaner, work better with mixers, and maybe the other two don't work so well. I don't know. I'm not a kind of cocktail person, as you can probably guess. I like to drink it neat, and for me, these two certainly are, exceptionally good vodkas. So, both of which, funnily enough, we stock. So if if it sounds interesting to you, if you're a kind of a vodka person, and want to have a look at sort of something slightly different from your kind of standard stuff, then have a look at the website www.gauntleys.com, where you can purchase both of these very, very fine spirits. Have a look at my WordPress blog. All my tasting notes of, although not, should we say, anywhere near the amount of whiskies I've tasted. I've only tasted a handful of vodkas, but all my tasting notes are there on the blog. So have a look at that, and I guess that pretty much wraps up this 50th episode of the show. So hopefully here's to 50 more. Good afternoon.
See how far you can climb.